On Vampire Choir, we're going to examine death metal across the world. I've taken out all of the CDs from my rare rack here, and I'm left with only the US bands. So this is all US, right through here. This is all Florida, Midwest, East Coast, West Coast, and American Rarities. It takes about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a good 7 full totes of US death metal. And then in my project here, I'm about right here. I've taken all the death metal out of my totes, mined Sweden because it takes 3.5 full totes. I haven't gone through Sweden yet. It's just a mighty collection of Sweden right there. Same thing with England. That's a 1.5 totes of England right there. Otherwise, let me show you what I've got. I took all the countries of the world and I laid them out. They're all in alphabetical order. They all have cards showing each country. And what we hope to glean from this video today is the amount of music that was released from each country. So I had the help of my trusty globe. I even had to Google some of the stuff. Like I didn't know where Malta was. So I had to look that up. Pretty amazing, learning geography as we go. So starting with Canada up here. Canada, pretty prosperous nation. We've got our Canadian death metal right here. And this is going to be about 2/3 of a tote full of Canadian death metal in alphabetical order. Next, we've got Mexico, another 2/3 of a tote Mexican death metal, actually quite a bit. And then after that, we're going to move over to Puerto Rico, Cuba, and Panama down here. So we've got Puerto Rico, Cuban bands, a couple bands from Panama, and then we've got mighty Colombia right through here, Colombian death metal. Colombia I chose because it'd be the next country that was then connected down here. So now I'm going to kind of swoop through and go through South America. So we've got Colombia, Venezuela. I couldn't find any bands from Ecuador, but Peru, Chile, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Bolivia right here, and then Brazil. So here's all of my South American madness. Let's take a look. Colombia, Venezuela, many bands from Peru, killer death thrash from Peru, a couple bands from Bolivia, and mighty Chile. Chile had tons of cool underground shit. Argentina, badass stuff from Argentina. A couple bands from Uruguay, Paraguay. And then we get to Brazil. Take a look at Brazil. Now, that's about a bunch of Sepultura, and that's some Sarcophago. I even have another case up there that's actually full of Sepultura. So there's a couple short from Brazil, but Brazil had a lot of bands, and it's the mighty stack. So all South America, kick ass. And then I skipped over England because it's basically a tote and a half, and it's mostly the big four that I like from Britain, and I'm going to take all those out of there. I did organize separately a couple of the countries over here. So I took UK and I moved it into pieces. I took Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and I've got those separated. I think I put them right here. So, yep, there was definitely a band from Northern Ireland, a couple bands from Scotland, a couple bands from Wales, some bands from Ireland right there. I'll make videos eventually highlighting all this stuff. Next, we move over to mighty France. France actually had a little less than I thought there was going to be. France, tons of great death metal, even old school, and almost all of this stuff, by the way, is just classics and old school, old rarities. So plenty of bands from France. Moving over to what I went with is romantic languages. I took France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Malta. Let me show you on the map. I swooped through Sweden already, England, and UK, went to France, and then we went to Spain and Portugal, and then through the Mediterranean, Italy, and then off the coast of Sicily is Malta. I put all those bands together next. And when I put these back in the totes, then I'll just kind of arrange it in that order. Next, I'm going to go with Sweden. Sweden had a mighty 3.5 totes worth of stuff. That's all, some alphabetical order, some are mix max, on the top that I just kind of threw up there. But I'm going to go through my Sweden box, and I'll get all my Swedish stuff arranged. And then the rest of Scandinavia. I went ahead and went with the 5 Scandinavian countries. So let's talk about Scandinavia. Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. Those are the 5 Scandinavian countries. Here's my collection. Yes, there is death metal from Norway, quite a bit of it right through here. I'll take you through my Norwegian death metal at some point. A couple bands from Iceland. Yes, Iceland death metal. Denmark, mighty Denmark, very powerful death metal, very hateful. I don't know, just something extra brutal about Denmark, some Danish death metal. Okay, so we've got those countries, and then here we have next Finland. Boom, tons and tons of Finnish bands. Tuned extra low, a little bit extra deep, a little bit darker than their Scandinavian counterparts. Norwegian was pretty blissful and fast. Swedish was brutal and heavy. And Finland was a bit deeper, slower, and darker, a little bit more somber. So Scandinavia. Next on our map, right next to UK and France, we have countries Netherlands, we have Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland right near it. But I'm going to go through the Netherlands here. Netherlands death metal, and of course it's mighty. We're talking Gorefest, Pestilence, Sinister, and plenty of great stuff. Asphyx, check out my, do I even have a Netherlands video yet? I don't know. But Netherlands, death metal, plenty of it. Then next, the astounding Germany. The powerhouse of Europe, largest economy in Europe is Germany. They had plenty. Look at this. The German bands. German bands. German bands. So many bands from Germany. Next to Germany, Poland. Poland actually had a smaller output than I thought. I thought I had more Polish death metal than I thought, but that's all my Polish death metal, and each CD from Poland is solid. Poland had some just ripping stuff. I mean, Decapitated, Vader are some of the most known, but look at all this excellent Polish death metal. Back over to the west of Europe, Belgium, several notable bands from Belgium. Just below Belgium and connected to it is Luxembourg. Found a couple bands from Luxembourg. And then right next to Italy is Switzerland. Switzerland, you know, a small lot here, but almost every band that I know is from Switzerland is total class. Some of the most, you know, high quality gems are from Switzerland. Not to mention I threw in Messiah here. Who else? Babylon Sad. I mean, there's Silent Death, Sickening Gore, Reactor. There's tons of notable bands from Switzerland, but Switzerland metal is just amazing. Okay, so now let's go back over to our map, just so we don't get lost here. We just did Germany, and now we're going to move into Czechia, right here. My old globe, it actually says Czechoslovakia. And then Slovakia is right next to it, Austria just below it. And then let's look at the size of Czech death metal, great stuff. The brutal Slovakian death metal, and the very stylish Austrian death metal. Pungent Stench, Miasma, kind of the kings of Austria over here. Not to mention Wolfgang Mozart and Franz Schubert, you know, is from Austria. Be great to combine classical composers with all of this European nations. Next, I decided to kind of skedaddle down here to Hungary. Let's take a look at our collection. Hungary, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, so the Baltic region, Bulgaria, and down to Greece. Great Greece death metal right here. We move a little bit up to Turkey, and then to Israel, and then the big country, Ukraine, and Russia. A bit of Russian death metal. And then I'm going to jump over to our nations over here. Let's take a look at the map. So we just did this area: Bulgaria, Greece, Turkey, Ukraine, Russia. And now we're going to jump all the way over to this side of the world. So I've got Russian bands, that's all the way over here. I couldn't find any bands from China, Burma, India, but I do have bands from Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, and Japan. So I just kind of went in a little circle right through here. The bottom part of the world, right through here, off the coast of China, are all of these great island nations. Death metal from Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, one from the Philippines, and quite a few bands from Japan, including Intestine Ballism and others. I skedaddled down to the lowest part of the world here. So after doing this, I was going like, well, what do we have left here? Down under, Australia, South Africa. A couple bands from South Africa, South African bands, and then the mighty Australian bands. Some serious, great thrash metal, all kinds of really nice stuff from Australia. And then we can kind of look at the whole overview. So here's from Canada and Mexico, North America, all of our South America, including Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Brazil. And then our Romantic languages: France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Malta. Scandinavia: Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Iceland. UK countries: Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Ireland. And then we went to Netherlands. We went to Germany, Poland, and then Eastern Europe, Baltic region, island nations, and down under. So there you have it. Death metal education.